Asylum Lake Preserve in Kalamazoo will be getting a new stormwater system plant that would filter out chemicals from runoff, including one that's been considered a research breakthrough.
News 8's David Horak explains.
The stormwater treatment plant will be just east of Drake Road and south of Stadium Drive, which will then treat any runoff that come from these two roads and US 131. But the two-part system, mostly funded by state grants, would not just filter out phosphorus and sediment. It would also be able to prevent contamination from road salt, which would have its first real-life application after research testing at WMU.
By limiting and removing that sodium or salts that enter the lake, we can extend the life of the lake, improve the water quality of the lake, and of course that these bodies of water, whether it's streams, lakes, rivers, all of that ends up in our drinking water.
More to come at 7 o'clock, including when that plan is expected to be finished. But for now, we're in Kalamazoo. David Horak, News 8.
A duo of former Gvsu and Calvin professors are bringing a new movie to Grand Rapids. Garden City, Kansas is a story about what could have been a tragedy, a plot to kill Somalian refugees that was foiled by an insider turned FBI informant. Joining us now to talk more about this movie is the filmmaker and former Gvsu professor, Bob Hurst. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
So tell us more about this movie.
Well, the movie we started in early 2017 filming because we learned about the story of the plot, the conspiracy that the three men were going to carry out to build a car bomb to blow up an apartment complex that houses mainly Muslim immigrants. And we also knew already, because I live and have worked in Kansas for the last 15 years, that Garden City is a majority-minority community on the High Plains Desert that has basically survived through immigration, through repeated waves of immigration through the decades. So we thought it's a compelling story of what we hope America will be, and that is inclusive and welcoming of newcomers.
Yeah, Bob, unfortunately, threats against religious and racial minorities have become more frequent in the last few years. So how come you decided to focus on this specific plot?
Well, we just think that the work that Garden City as a community had done over the decades was really the conspiracy of the three men really set this off in relief, and that is how hard the people who are already living in Garden City and the new immigrants, how hard they had worked and what actually was at risk. So as a film, it's just a sort of dramatic structure that I think really helps people understand what's at risk when people carry out or they sort of buy into these ideas and decide to do something drastic.
Yeah, while filming this movie, I'm sure you interviewed a lot of people, heard a lot of stories. What impacted you the most?
It was, and people say this in the film, just how hard immigrants work who come to this country. Just what they're willing to do, what people have often, the circumstances people have often come from, and how they want to contribute, how genuinely everybody wants to contribute and make their lives better, not just their families, but they want to build communities here. And we need to give people the opportunities to do that.
What do you want people to learn from this movie, the people who go and watch it?
I think of this movie as an invitation for people to think about what we have in common instead of what our differences are.
Yeah.
Essentially, they want people to think about that.
Okay, well, so there's a premiere of Garden City, Kansas, right here in Grand Rapids. When and where can people go to watch it?
That'll be at the Wealthy Theater in Grand Rapids tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And we hope everyone will come. There'll be a nice question and answer with my colleague at the University of Kansas, Randall Jelks, who taught at Calvin College in the early 2000s. And we'll hope to have, like we've had everywhere we screened, a nice discussion, a talk about what we do have in common as Americans.
Bob Hurst, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about this film.
Thank you.